Welcome to the Vitality Vault Podcast, your one-stop shop for health and wellness. Join us as we dive deep into the latest medical trends, break down complex health topics, and empower you to live a more vibrant life.
Hi there. I'm Dr. Bacchus Morris, a triple board certified physician who specializes in internal medicine, obesity medicine, as well as anti-aging, regenerative, and aesthetic medicine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Morris, and I am a double board certified physician in internal medicine and obesity medicine with special interest in peptide therapeutics, which I got certified in.
Together, we're passionate about helping you achieve optimal health and longevity. From exercise, nutrition, we'll be bringing you the latest cutting edge in terms of weight loss and everything else in the wellness world to help you achieve a healthier you.
So our goal is to help you live your best life. So whether you're looking for weight loss strategies, longevity, just want to live a little bit better, and have these tips that you can apply to your daily life from day one, we are here to help. So come join us on this journey.
Join the doctors, voted top internist in Tucson 4 years running. So let's unlock your potential together. Welcome to the Vitality Vault Podcast with Dr. B and Dr. G.
What is up, Tucson? Welcome to the Vitality Vault with your host, the lovely Dr. B, and her husband, me, Dr. G. So today we are going to tackle a hot topic, one that I think is huge in the ethos now, which is obesity. Now, we, Dr. B and I, we're both, obesity medicine trained. So we see it as a true disease because it is. So we want to bring some data today to you guys, just giving you a basic understanding of why we think obesity is a disease and why you should treat it as such as well.
And we have some stats for you today that we're going to show you of just the burden of obesity on population, on healthcare, different groups in the population as well that it affects differently. So we're going to show you some numbers right now. So here we see that 42.4% of adults in the U.S., that's actually more than 2 in 5 adults have been suffering from obesity. It is a growing public health issue, and it is a major risk factors for several conditions, several chronic conditions. We're talking about heart disease, we're talking about strokes, we're talking about other physical disabilities such as arthritis, chronic pain that this can eventually lead to. So much more, and it's definitely a higher burden on our healthcare.
So there are disparities in the prevalence of this disease. So we look at classes like the non-Hispanic Black adults. You see almost 50% of them have rates of obesity. Now, on this particular slide, what you're looking at is the actual distribution of obesity within the U.S. And this is 2023 data. And you can see those states in the deep red and orange are definitely 30% to 35% above, or the population in those states have the disease of obesity. So it is a growing problem. Now, if we were to show you data from like years gone by, 10 years ago, most of this map was yellow and green. So we are definitely seeing this exploding in the ethos with regards to people becoming more and more obese.
Almost the entire map is red and
exactly,
orange.
Except for California and New York, which is kind of weird because I used to live in New York. So
that's true. Maybe they do a lot more walking there.
They probably do. Oh, you know what? It's just the aggressive nature of New Yorkers. I think that's what, you burn a lot of calories being aggressive.
All right. So health and economic impacts of obesity. As we said, definitely increases the risk of chronic conditions, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, even certain cancers. Obesity increases the risk of these cancers. And definitely sleep apnea, we've seen a lot of that more now. And with all of this, of course, it reduces the life expectancy and lowers the quality of life.
Now, if you look at it, Dr. B, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I found this really cool stat. Well, stat because we're healthcare.
Right.
The life expectancy data, there was one study that showed that for the super obese individuals, people whose BMI are 40 and above, it can shave off up to 14 years off of their lifespan.
Wow, 14
So
years.
over a decade
Yeah.
off your lifespan just by having a BMI of 40 and above. So this is really, really big, guys.
Yeah.
We need to definitely attack this thing like no one else does.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we can see the economic impacts on the healthcare, and we have here quoted $173 billion obesity-related healthcare costs. And on average, the individuals, those patients with obesity, they spend a lot more on their healthcare, almost $2,000 more per year. And of course, there's lost productivity. So it's definitely a growing economic burden.
So, path forward. What do we got to do? We have to treat this thing like it is. It's a disease, treat it as such. So, whether it be through education, because everyone knows how to lose weight, right? You see a magazine. There's not a magazine that's not produced that has something about weight loss. But I think we're not taking it as seriously as we should as a society, because down the line, we're going to face a ton more health issues and strains on the healthcare itself if we don't get this thing, properly taken care of.
Absolutely.
So, after all that data, Dr. B, I got some questions for you.
Oh, do you?
Yes. I stayed up and I've been studying because I want to make sure I can stump her today. So I wrote down some questions to see if she could answer them.
He's funny because we live in the same house, so I came prepared too, So here we go.
Okay,
right.
Me first. Okay, I'm gonna hit this first. So, how does the food industry, in your opinion, contribute to the obesity epidemic that we're facing right now?
So many different ways, actually. First, I'm sure we've all heard about processed foods and over-processing of these foods. We're talking about like the foods on the shelf, mainly, which we refer to them as empty calories. There's lots of they have lots of calories, but it's not nutritional value. So very sugary content, very carb-heavy content, not much protein, hardly any vitamins, minerals. So that does lend to this whole obesity trend, unfortunately.
I think also we have to look at the sizes or the portion sizes. I know because Dr. B and I were from the Caribbean. So when we first moved to the U.S., it was amazing the sizes of the foods we got when we went to certain restaurants. And it was like, whoa, that's a lot of food. So for us, it was like, okay, we could share a plate. And we still, to this day, depending on where we go, end up sharing a plate just because of the sheer size and the amount of food we get. And then we also talk about the marketing. Because, you look at the way the processed foods are marketed in the U.S., or foods in general. Between the hours of 6 p.m. and 10 p.m., you're watching news or your program, you're guaranteed to catch at least, 5 or 6 food commercials. And not necessarily commercials about broccoli or Brussels sprouts.
Not at all.
No, you never see those. You see more of the hyper-processed foods being commercialized heavily, the $5 menus and all those things. So I think that's a huge part of what we see. Exactly.
Supersize me.
So the marketing is huge. And then they start from kids too. I know one pet peeve of mine is the cereals that kids are exposed to, being in this country. We grew up on oatmeal and Weetabix, which is like a wheat cereal, or muesli for those of you from the European background. That's what we grew up on. So having kids get the berry-colored, tropical, fake colored stuff to eat, or ones that are basically candy with milk, I think that's what's setting up a lot of our kids for failure.
Right. The artificial colors and flavors. And these foods are being made colorful to attract kids.
That's true.
Well, we've seen this a lot in the food industry. The bright colors, it makes it more attractive. Kids want that. They go to the store and they're on the shelves and they're beautiful, bright red and orange and blue. And they're like, Mom, Dad, I want this. So yeah, the marketing definitely plays a role in that. Yes. And we're going to talk about lack of access. So, certain areas, of course, lower socioeconomic areas, areas of more poverty that don't necessarily have access to fresh foods. This becomes a problem too, because they're focusing more on the processed foods. And then, as years go by and you have nutritional deficiencies, unhealthy weight gain. So this all lends as well to this trend, unfortunately.
Cool. So, next question for you.
Okay.
What role does social media play in shaping our perceptions of our bodies and the whole dynamic or life cycle of obesity? What role do you think that plays?
Well, social media is definitely a big factor today. Everyone is on their phone. Everyone is looking at other people's posts, etc. And just what's been put out there. They always say never believe what you see on social media. It's not true. But if you are subjecting yourself to this all the time and you are believing body figure, body shape is real. Like that is what it's supposed to be. So unrealistic body images that are being put out there, and a lot of these things, it's not a real photo, or they have filters over them,
Yes.
just to
AI.
make them. Yeah, absolutely. So but people, especially kids, they don't know the difference. You see a lot of, now younger and younger kids having their phones and having access to social media. And so, it's given them the wrong idea of what the proper body image is, supposed to look like.
And that is huge. And in addition to that, you also have, like you said, the more of the kids being exposed, you have the mental health aspect, you have the more depression, more anxiety, which then leads people down the path of eating because of their feelings. So I mean, it's making life a lot more difficult for a lot of individuals. But on the other hand, social media can be a good thing because there are a lot of good communities out there online which help people navigate the disease of obesity. It gives them a safe space where they can communicate with those who have overcome or done well with weight loss and build a community around yourself. So it's not all bad. It's not all bad. It's there is definitely some good. I've seen some good on social media with regards to health and wellness, especially in the weight loss space. And I think just gotta make sure when you pick a group or if you are following something, make sure it's good, it's wholesome. It doesn't get you trapped in that death spiral. As we tell our boys, where you're just scrolling. If it's something that's good, meaningful, and wholesome, you want to make sure you tack on to that.
And I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to bring you the right information, so that when you see these other things, there's so many people that's talking about, changes you need to make, et cetera, like what we're doing right now.
Yes.
So hopefully that can help to combat what you're seeing out there that's not necessarily real or the right things that, you should be exposed to.
Good. Awesome.
All right. Now, ready for your question?
No, there was no talk of my question. There's not supposed to be any talk of questions to me.
So I'm sure that there's some cultural and societal factors that can make certain populations more susceptible to obesity, right? So can you mention some of those to us?
Okay, so yes, that does play a role. And I'm going to tack on our experience as being from the Caribbean. So we grew up in a very carb-heavy environment. I mean, a lot of foods that I still love to this day but have to avoid are steeped in carbohydrates. Now, carbs aren't bad, but the portions and the amount that we get, I think, is what's driving it. So a lot of the cultural foods we grew up with, that our grandmothers used to make, looking back now, oh my gosh, I mean, the stuff that they still eat as well back home, it's not the healthiest. I mean, there was never a heavy emphasis on eating, on portion control, because we grew up, I know I for sure grew up with the mentality, guess what? If it's in your plate, you're going to eat it, So that's one thing that a lot of kids, a lot of people in our generation grew up with, right? Because it's in the plate. You have to finish it. And that's something we've had to break as parents, as our parents for our boys, where especially me, I had the initial mindset of, hey, son, if I put it in your plate, you're going to have to eat it. And that actually was negative. And now we've kind of moved to more of, okay, are you full? And if the answer is yes, then we move on. And their portions have shrunk compared to what we used to eat as kids, I think. So yeah, there are definitely some cultural factors that play into dietary habits. Also, we look at physical activity. So when I was a kid growing up, I loved playing like sports in school. So I did some, but not as much as I would like to. One, because the emphasis growing up in the Caribbean was more on academic stuff. So you were taught, hey, You can play football, you can play volleyball, but you're focused on your school. So there wasn't much emphasis placed on being physically active and being, heavy into sports, getting your heart rate up for
Right.
physical activity. We didn't have that. That was always thought of as you don't really need that. Just focus on your grades. And yeah, it did well. It got us to where we are, but we have changed our tone now for our boys, and we have them, doing more physical activity stuff. I mean, our youngest wakes up and works out with me at 5 a.m. He's intense though. That kid is way too intense. But he wakes up at 5. I think he gets it from his mother. That's where he gets. I'm the mild mannered one, despite what popular people or everyone says. I'm the mild mannered one. She's the intense one. But I think those are
Yeah.
the ones that come to mind.
And I just want to say a little about the food. You mentioned like certain cultures,
Yes.
carb heavy.
Yes.
There's certain like wheat, corn, certain things that are heavy in the culture. I just want to talk about like what the nutritional value of those foods look like now compared to back then when we were younger.
True.
Because we see that these foods lead into more weight gain. Compared, like you think about like our foreparents and what they ate. They were pretty heavy on their carbs. Let's
Yes,
just
true.
stick with carbs for a
True.
minute and talk
True.
about those. But you didn't have the health issues that we're seeing now. Now, just to make some of these foods more available, there've been a lot more genetic modification of the foods. We call them GMO food. And so for this mass overproduction of foods, they've been genetically modified. And so in that process, they've lost a lot of their nutritional content. So, again, going back to the processed foods, it's kind of like that. It's kind of that same, thinking. You got reduced, less nutrition, less vitamins and minerals that you're getting from these foods. So, and sometimes you've got hormones that have been added that plays a role there with weight gain, and it puts you at risk for other health conditions. So the foods have definitely changed.
They have.
And so we have to be careful what we're putting in our bodies now, not because, because it was there a long time ago doesn't mean that it's necessarily good for us right now.
Yeah.
Too.
So if your chicken can do a pull-up, don't eat it. If your chicken can bench 100 pounds, don't eat it. Please. If the cow has rock hard abs, don't eat it. So I mean, it's all that the GMO and the hormones that they pump into these foods that we get to eat.
And in some populations, genetics do play a role.
That's true.
In in obesity as well too. Like if it's come down the line from before, yes, you're at risk, but you still have to, you can definitely avoid that by eating properly, having good physical activity. We don't have to always be subject to that bad genetics, we call it.
True.
Those genetics have to be activated by us eating unhealthy and us leading sedentary lifestyles and, just not doing the healthy thing, what we're supposed to be doing.
I'm happy you guys joined us for this talk about obesity. I mean, Dr. B and I are very passionate about treating this disease, and we have actually put together our own weight loss program through our practice where you get to work with me, and my team to help get you where you need to be. So this is something that we do recommend that people look into. So if you're someone who is suffering with the disease of obesity, or if you know someone that has been trying everything under the sun and just can't get it licked, then they might need some help. It's a journey that you shouldn't take on your own. It's one that once you have a good team with you or behind you, getting you on the right path, you can succeed. So this is just a basic overview of what we offer. And feel free to contact us, 520-600-8558 if you're in the Tucson or Valley Marana area. We are happy to get you on. And what I always tell clients is this isn't for life. If we can make these changes now and you can kind of grow with these changes, you don't need to be on a program like this for life. We want this to become more of a lifestyle you adopt so that you have long-term success and so that you can actually enjoy a good health span, not a lifespan. We don't want you living longer and that life being crappy. We want you to have a great health span with our program. So check it out. It's a great option. And we can't wait to see you and get you guys feeling better. Dr. B, our first one is in the books. Any final thoughts?
It was a great one, definitely something we need to talk about and something we've been focusing on in our practice. And that's why we came up with our weight loss program. And we're going to be expanding on that come very soon. So, and we'll be introducing lots of that to, in our upcoming events as well, too. So this was a great one in our Vitality Vault. We're definitely here to help you to become a more healthier you, where you feel better, live better, and enjoy life.
And look out for our next episode, where during the next episode, we will be doing a giveaway on one of our weight loss supplements. So there will be a keyword that one of us will say, followed by an audible trigger, which we want you to listen to. So that way you can actually get into that raffle so you could win a supplement from us. So it's something we're going to be doing throughout our episodes. Every now and then we'll be throwing out things at you guys. So that way you guys can enjoy and love watching us. We can't wait to see you guys for the next one. We will be diving deeper into weight loss at the next one, which will be part 2 of this particular segment.
Awesome. See you guys then.
Take care.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Vitality Vault with Dr. B and Dr. G. Don't forget to check out our other informative episodes as the doctors dive deep into your health and wellness so you can live a more vibrant life.